Take a little trip with me, I'm gonna take you home.
Take a little history down this lane of memories.
Down this lane.
So let's raise another glass for the glorious past and the friends we have become. Yeah, yeah, 'cause little did we know the good times come and go, but the best is yet to come.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. My guest is India's greatest and best known electoral strategist, Prashant Kishore. A few days ago, we interviewed him on a critical question that's been at the back of everyone's mind for the last 3 weeks of the lockdown. What impact will this coronavirus crisis have on Indian politics? Today, I'm going to talk to him about himself. What is the secret of the success of his electoral strategy? Remember, his strategy brought Narendra Modi to Prime Ministership in 2014, and since then, he's made Nitish, Kumar, Arminder Singh, Arvind Kejriwal, and of course, Jagan Mohan Reddy Chief Ministers as well. And next year, he hopes to make Mamata Banerjee and MK Stalin Chief Ministers. So what is the secret of his success? But before I come to that, Prashant Kishore, let me talk to you about Narendra Modi. You made him Prime Minister in 2014, but you were working with him from 2012. What attracted you to Narendra Modi?
Yeah, first of all, I don't like to be called political strategist. It's a phrase which media uses, and
I thought I said electoral strategy.
Electoral or political strategist. The word I'm very, very uncomfortable with. At best, I see myself as a political aid to leaders or the parties who I choose to collaborate or who choose to collaborate with me. The second thing is me helping someone win election is not same as me making them win election. People like us are highly overrated. What we are able to do.
Your modesty is winning.
No, not really. I tell you that you don't win election because of an individual called Prashant Kishore, or for that matter, any individual or one organization working for you or helping you in certain part of your campaign or outreach or engagement with people.
I accept all of that. I accept all of that.
But to say that I have made someone Prime Minister or Chief Minister is hugely, I would say, not. It's an overstatement.
It's not just journalistic speak. It's how hundreds of millions of people view you. But I accept. Your
yes.
modesty is winning. Let's not quarrel over your modesty. Let me ask you about Narendra Modi. What drew you to him in 2012 when you first began?
So no, I started in 2011, not 12. What drew me, I have been on public record on this, that when I met him with regards to malnutrition situation in Gujarat, there is nothing which I could have claimed at that time that would have made me any better in politics or about politics than any other individual of my age or pedigree in India. We started working on malnutrition only, and as it just with the time it progressed into something which you could say as helping him on the political side as well.
So he saw you and judged you as someone who gave advice on malnutrition to begin with, and then you began talking about politics, and he began to believe that you had quite a lot of valuable political advice to give as well.
So if there is a credit to him, not to me.
He recognized the talent in you.
More than talent, I think he knew probably how some of those things could be put to use.
Did you at the time believe that you had a certain insight or instinct or talent for politics, or did Mr. Modi see it and then you came to believe it as well?
With the benefit of hindsight, now I think a little bit of political knack probably I would have had right from early when I was an adolescent or maybe when I was in college and all. But to put it in this frame and what I'm doing today or what I have been doing in the last 4-5 years, I don't think I ever imagined that I'll be doing these things, or I have any strategic advantage.
The interaction with Mr. Modi from 2011 onwards helped you realize the talent in yourself?
It has. I didn't had a moment when I would have sat back and looked and assessed whether I have X talent or Y talent. It
just happened.
You just went with the flow, and this is a wrong notion people have, that you get hired or involved or engaged as a political strategist, and then next day onwards you start dictating terms or you start advising the person. It's all gradual thing. You do one thing right, then the second thing comes, then the third thing.
One builds on another.
Yes, that's how it
Tell
works.
me about Narendra Modi. You've seen him at close quarters. What would you say are his strengths?
Oh, there are many. You can write a book about his strengths, but if I have to single out one thing as his distinct advantage or strength, I would say the unique experience mix he has, which is unmatched in India, in contemporary India. And what I mean by unique experience is 15 years as a RSS pracharak, he probably had an opportunity to see, observe, interact, engage with masses at the grassroots level like very few would have. Then 15 years as political organizer when he was in BJP, doing all what a political organizer or an activist is supposed to be doing, building organization, making it election ready, making it electorally a force, managing people, leaders, all those things is another bucket. And then 15 years as in government as chief minister and now as a prime minister. Now, if you put this thing together, you are talking about 45 years of experience, which to my mind is unmatched in India. You wouldn't find an individual with the similar professional mix of 45 years, and that's probably is his biggest advantage.
People often say that Narendra Modi has an instinctive understanding of the Indian people. He can almost second guess what they feel and think. And is that because of his chaiwala origin?
No, it's because of this experience what I'm trying to tell you.
Not his chaiwala origin, but his extensive experience.
It's about if you spend 40 years and if you're, of course you have to be very smart, you have to be wise, you have to be intelligent, but with this experience, exactly what you said, that's an outcome. But he has that instinctive ability, or literally he gets his instinct most of the time. He's right with his instinct when it comes to gauging public mood and interacting, engaging with them. It is because he has that experience to back that instinct.
Let me ask you the opposite question. What are his big weaknesses?
Oh, I'm too small a person to talk about his weakness. It is for people to judge.
But as an analyst who's worked with him,
see, I've been asked this question, and probably if I'm forced to say something, I'd position it differently. I would say probably as an individual, as a leader, he could be a bit more benevolent. So if you want to say, everyone has many weaknesses, so I'm not getting into that, but what he could be better on is by being the key, he could be more benevolent.
What do you mean by more benevolent?
In every possible way. You understand the meaning of benevolent.
You mean nicer, kinder?
Nicer, forgiving, forgetting, forgiving, nicer, kinder, all what benevolence means.
You're suggesting that he bears grudges against people?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm telling
when
that
you say kinder, forgiving?
I'm saying and that's why I choose the word benevolence, that he could be more benevolent, and I would not, I would just let it be.
But
like
you
that.
Spelled it out to mean nicer, kinder.
No, I said you
and forgiving.
Yes, that's how the dictionary would put the definition of meaning of benevolent.
You're giving me the impression that if someone does something that upsets Mr. Modi, he remembers and holds it against them.
I'm not getting into dissecting that, but you asked me a question about his weakness, and I'm telling that one area where probably he could have been better is this, where he could be a bit more benevolent.
Is he an easy person to talk to?
He's a great listener.
A great listener?
He's a great listener.
He doesn't interrupt?
No, and more than that, when you're talking to him, you're working with him, he gives you the impression that he's there in body, mind, soul, he's there with you. Even if that meeting is for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 hour, no matter what the length is, no matter the hour of the day, no matter whether he's tired or whether he's fresh, you'll get this feeling that he's there in totality.
And is he the sort of person who you want to share your innermost thoughts with? Is he the sort of person you would want to confide with, or is that going one step too far?
That depends on the individual, and probably would vary from one individual to another. There would be people who probably would like to confide in him, and there would be people who...
You worked with him for 4 years. Would you consider him a friend?
No, I don't think he's my... no.
He's not a friend?
No, he's not. In general, no one should consider... I wouldn't advise, if you ask me, can I consider him as a friend, I would say no.
Did you like him?
I like many parts of him, yes.
But not all?
But that's true for all individuals.
I'm going back to using a phrase I used earlier because it's used popularly, and I know it embarrasses you. You made Mr. Modi.
No, I did not make
But let me finish the question. Don't get hooked on the word made.
No, but I'm saying...
I'm using it on purpose because you'll soon work out why I'm using it. So
Yes.
let me finish. You made Mr. Modi. Can you unmake him?
No, first of the question is not valid, is because first of all I did not make him.
Okay.
Mr. Modi made himself.
Okay. You helped make Mr. Modi. Can
No,
you
I
help
did not even. I would not even. I would further qualify it. I might have contributed in my little way in what he became from 2011 to 2014, in that time frame.
Then let me rephrase it. If you contributed in your own little way to what he became from 2011, from 2011 to 2014, yes. Would you be willing to contribute in your own way to his defeat in the next election?
No, my life goals are not set like that. I'm not driven by this idea that I have to defeat X, Y or Z, and that includes Mr. Modi.
Let me put another question to you. You've seen the sort of Prime Minister he's been since 2014. You've often tweeted with disillusionment, sometimes with anguish, occasionally with anger, particularly in the days of CA
Yes.
and NPR.
Yes.
Do you regret the role you played in helping him become Prime Minister?
No.
You have no regrets at all?
No. You learn, you don't regret. You learn from your experience, you don't regret. That is how I see it.
If Mr. Modi invited you to work with him again, would you say no?
I think we have moved too far.
There's too much fasla between the two of you.
Not fasla, like he first of all, he doesn't need someone like me, and second, I have also moved in my own little small way. So what's the question of going back? I don't think.
So that's a bridge that's been crossed. You can't go back over it again.
I don't think so.
Let's come to the other people that you've worked with.
Yes.
To whose election success you've contributed in a big way. Nitish, Kumar, Arvind Kejriwal, Jagan Mohan Reddy, Amarinder Singh. Yes. And next year, you hope to do the same for Mamata Banerjee and MK Stalin. What's the secret of the success of the advice you give them? I won't say electoral strategy because you don't like that word. What's the secret of the advice you give them?
Just being open-minded and driven by the evidence or the data which we collect, know, and being commonsensical. It's largely about being commonsensical. 9 out of 10 things what we do, I tell you, is already known to the leader that this is what they should be doing. Sometimes they lack the conviction that they can or they should do it. So our presence sometimes helps in doing that. Sometimes they are not able to execute things as they would have liked it to be. So we help and probably contribute in executing it as well as it should be executed. And very rarely you also bring new information that comes from all your understanding of grassroots data analysis, whatever you want to call it. But this is, when I say data and grassroots information, please do not mistake it with AI and social media, which to my mind again is very, very overrated with regards to the impact they have on the electoral outcomes.
But do you suggest particular lines that they should follow in terms of things they should say, or posters that they should put up, or messages that they should send?
So this is the question which we are asked, that what do we do actually? But we do everything that contributes or that enhances the probability of you winning. If it means you saying the right thing, so be it. If it means scheduling your day in a better way, if it means strengthening your cadre, so be it. If it means that you communicate better, engage better or more effective way, everything. So there is no we don't work to a TOR. You don't contract me out with certain TOR that you do X, Y, Z, and
you work across the board.
We work together. That's why I said that I call myself more of a political aid. I'm working with you, whatever it takes.
Which also means that when you're working with someone, you're working very, very closely, and
Very
you're with
closely.
them, and you're with them practically all the time.
All the time.
And you're talking to them about practically everything.
Everything.
And it also means that you must feel free to be privately critical to them, so that they realize if they've said something wrong and why they should say something different.
Most of them, they are very open to it.
Very open to it.
Very open to it, because what they say in what they appear or what they say in public and what they are in private are two different things. And they are at the top because they are open to criticism, or they are open to the and they understand. And when they are getting someone like me, I'm not going to go there and just praise them, because for that they have many more.
Are there people who've approached you and said, we'd like you to work with us and help us, and who you thought about and said, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to take
Many.
this? Many.
Many.
So there are many that you've said you don't want to work with.
Yes.
Because you didn't think they were the right sort, or because you didn't think they'd listen to you?
So this is one of the most, I would say, conflicting thing that goes on, that on what basis we choose to work with, who do we choose to work. Sometimes it is just the matter of survival, because as you are starting your career, you don't have choice, you work with what comes your way. Sometimes it was just a momentary decision, sometimes it was strategic, sometimes it just happened.
Just didn't like the person.
It just happened. I'm saying those who we choose to work with. So we reject more than we accept.
I'm going to go back to the nature of the work you do and ask you to illustrate it as an example. If opposition politicians had said to you during this present corona crisis, what should we do so that people think we care about them? What should we do so that people think we're still valid? What would you advise them?
I don't know. First thing I would do is I will go and put a system to talk to about, say, 100,000 people across India and gather what they're saying. Many times, we overestimate our own understanding of situation. I tell you, and give a couple of examples. So in Bihar, if you see the way when we conduct a campaign, it is largely around 7-8 programs, the promises. And to get that right, you really need to get down on the ground and be humble to realize that you may or may not be knowing what people want.
So the groundwork of finding out from people on the ground what they want is very important.
You have to have this respect for people's wisdom, and that is, if there is any secret, the secret is that we at an individual level, I have greatest respect in the wisdom of people who otherwise, to most quote unquote wise experienced people, they come across as illiterate or uninformed. Or
you're giving something very important away. You actually, as a team, get as much feedback as you can from the ground.
That's it.
As you said, sometimes a lakh or even more people. More. And then you filter that back to the people you're working with to say, look, this is what they want, this is what you have to say.
It will become too lengthy, but I can give you campaign after campaign, we have done the same thing.
So this time around during coronavirus, when lakhs or millions
began
walking back home,
say for example,
what would you have said to politicians?
This coronavirus thing, we can all sit in our room, no matter how smart we are, and we can make a guess that how people are thinking and what they are thinking and how they are going to react. But scientifically speaking, you and I would not know unless we would have spent time with them, listening to them. And that is the problem in the political parties. Most top level leaders, and I'm talking about across parties, you go and ask how many of them has spent a night in last 1 month or 2 months being with people. Very few of them would have spent a night, very few of them.
So would you have said to people, look, there are millions walking back in anguish and hunger, go walk with them for 3-4 days?
Yes.
You would have.
But what does journalists do? They go, how the world knows that they were suffering? Because some journalists walked back with them, they asked them, What are you feeling? What are you? What is your suffering is? What is your complaint? Who are you angry with?
Politicians should do the same.
Unless you do that, you will always be disconnected.
So politicians,
and you are more likely to make mistake in not getting them what people want.
So
from
politicians who believe that they're being ignored or their party is not getting the fair play deserved, you just said to them, take Rahul example, go walk with these people, identify with these people, and try and see whether you can reach out.
But there is no other way other than listening. You tell me if there is any other way to know what millions of people are thinking about a given situation on a particular day.
So what I get the feeling is that opposition politicians had a wonderful opportunity, walk with these people, spend time with them, identify with them, understand and stand by them. Not doing it meant that you lost a huge opportunity.
Yes, because see, this walking back thing, we can all make a second guess that what they were going through as they were walking back to their houses. What would have made someone walk 1,000 kilometers, children, a bag on their shoulder? What would have made someone to take that kind of risk? Unless you talk to them, I, in my limited wisdom, have not been able to figure it out a better way to know what they're feeling and what their possible reaction could be. And if I know what their actual issues are and what their possible reaction could be, then I am better placed to mount a political challenge or political strategy or communication.
And also at a time
also when I relate with them and they relate with me.
And also at a time when they think that the government has turned its back on them, you're identifying with them and showing them, Hamara to Sahara aapke saath hai.
Yes.
Let me put to you two criticisms that are made of you. People say you're a political mercenary. You work with Congress in one election, the BJP in the next. Last year you worked with Shiv Sena, next year you're working with Trinamool Congress. How do you respond to that?
I take it with a pinch of salt. I give them benefit of doubt for simple reason is that I have not made a concerted effort to explain why I do what I do. The second benefit of doubt, the reason why I would give them benefit of doubt is because there is no reference point for them to make assessment of me as an individual or as a professional or whatever they think of me. So everyone makes his or her own assessment that why I do what I do. Now on this question of Congress, BJP, this side, that side, if you give yourself 2 minutes, you will realize that since 2015, once we have walked out of the BJP NDA setup, in 2015 I have worked with Nitish Kumar, who he was fighting with. He was fighting with BJP. After Nitish Kumar, we were engaged, we were involved in election in Punjab, who Amrinder Singh was fighting election against. It was an Akali BJP government. After that, we were in UP, which we were unsuccessful. The Congress Sapa were fighting BJP. After that, we were in Andhra. Jagan Mohan Reddy was fighting against TDP plus BJP. It was an NDA government. So, but you don't want to see it. You want to see who Didi is fighting, who MK Stalin is fighting. So you put this all together and tell me where we are moving from one side to another side.
So in a sense, you're a bit like a lawyer. You don't judge the party that comes to you to hire you. You simply judge, I've got a job to do and I'll do it.
No. You cannot hire me. You cannot hire
You must want to work with them first.
Yes. But this is one thing which I have said many times, that again, as I told you, people just don't want to understand. As I explained to you on being on the one side of the aisle. But journalists after journalists, they start writing that he works with all parties. Working with all party and working on both sides are two different things. In a country as big as India, you need to be, even if you are on one side, you might end up working with 4, 5, 6 parties.
Then let me put this to you, and in a sense it flows out of your answer. You work with people who are often political opposites of each other.
But that is true for the political parties as well.
Absolutely.
Why are you, if that is the reason, BJP and communists were together in the government in 89. Tell me one party which has not worked with people who were
But you didn't let me finish the question.
Yes.
I was going on to say, because you work with people or parties that are political opposites to each other, people ask, what does Prashant Kishore himself believe in? What is Prashant Kishore's own political position?
Yes. So I'm glad you asked this question. At an individual level, I am driven by whatever and driven and fascinated by whatever I have learned or have been able to understand in my limited wisdom about Mr. Gandhi and what he has preached about how someone in public life should conduct himself or herself.
Mr. Gandhi, I take it, is the Mahatma.
Mahatma Gandhi, of course. And he said, the best politics is right action. This whole word ideology is so much misused by the politicians and the leaders of all class and color. Like Khadi, this word ideology is so much misused, because in India, unfortunately, we equate ideology, having an ideology with having a affiliation to a party, which is completely bunkum, because parties here in India, they keep changing themselves. So, but as a leader of the party, what you try to do in the name of ideology, you want to build a certain degree of intoxication in your judgment, in your so that you lose your objectivity to judge whether you are doing right thing or wrong thing. So, say for example, you are in Communist Party. So, you would be presumed to be having an ideology which is same as that of Communist Party, and by virtue of being a member of Communist Party and ideologically quote unquote a solid person, you are not supposed to be questioning even if Communist Party fails to deliver any good for the people. What is your own opinion? Do you think the young and the educated or the vast majority of this country should get blinded in the name of ideology? Most horrendous things in the history has been done in the name of ideology.
I totally accept that.
But so those who write that he is ideologically agnostic, they know nothing about ideology.
But it's not the agnosticism of your position.
I give you one more. No, let me complete this, because this is such an important point. People who are completely ignorant about ideology, they are, or how it should be applied in a political given situation. So, take Mahatma Gandhi. He was opposed to cow slaughter, and he was a votary of, say, being vegetarian or many such things. So, by that virtue, he was very close to what some part of what RSS is for. He talked about Gram Swaraj. So, that way he was very close to what socialists would say. He talked about state ownership of asset. That means he was partly communist, and he was in Congress. So, with your experience and wisdom, and you have dealt with so many politicians, tell me how do today, if Mr. Gandhi would have been alive, what would have been his political ideology? Which party he would fit in? And if you help me understand, I will go and work with that party all my life.
But in your own terms, you're saying a very important thing. You're saying you don't like the term ideology because it binds people between very narrow confines of what they think is your thinking. On many issues you have different thoughts. On some you equate with A, on others with B, on some with C. And this perhaps is the explanation to a question I asked you earlier. You can work with Shiv Sena one year and Mamta the next, and although the two of them look like polar opposites, both of them have things that in a sense you can identify with. In other words, you can't be confined or reduced to ideology because there's a lot in you that is cross-connecting.
So, I am saying that you as an ideology, as a person, you must have an ideology, but do not equate it with having an affiliation with a political party, because in India, as we are still early as a journey of the nation, we are early stages of being a democracy. The party's ideologies are not as crystal clear and as casted in stone as people would like it to believe.
But can I interrupt?
While the political parties, they want to have this liberty and flexibility to keep changing their ideology, they want the citizens to be binded to them in the name of ideology. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But you're saying a very interesting thing, and there's a certain element of perhaps contradiction. At one level, you're happy to work with people who...
No, working is a different thing. Let's stick to ideology point.
But I'm trying to understand...
As a citizen, whether you should have ideology and how do you deal with this having or not having an ideology. What I'm trying to tell you is the political ideology, and I repeat, having an ideology is not same as being affiliated to a party. The party is what they want here in India, that they are flexible. They want the flexibility for themselves in the name of ideology, but they want you as a voter or a supporter to remain binded to them even if they don't deliver what their ideology is supposed to be.
And you're also saying, aren't you, this is the point I was trying
And
to
I'm not willing to be that blind.
The fact that you work with a particular party doesn't mean you share their ideology.
No, definitely yes.
Right?
Yes, because
and that's why you can work. And that's why you can work with two completely different parties.
And then I'm coming to it, what makes me work. When we work, we are working to set an agenda which I believe in, which we think that what people are asking or expecting their governments or party to do, and the party I am working with, they are binded to that agenda. So take for example Mr. Nitish Kumar. He fought an election as part of Mahagathbandhan, and now he is with BJP. I was with him and I am not with him today. But this 5 year, his agenda, his governance, everything is binded to the 7-point program which has been written and contributed by us, to which we contributed. So more than 60% of Bihar government's budget is tied to those 7 promises, and on which the elections were fought.
In other words, he may have found new political affiliations, but he's bound by the 7-point agenda.
Yes, he can't get away.
You helped him create.
Yes, he can't get away.
So in other words, he may have found new partners to work with, but he's still walking down the road.
Yes.
He's still walking down your road.
Same road which we would have put together.
Absolutely.
It's not my road,
it's
but
just
it's
that,
a road
it's just that he's changed partners.
Yes.
Not Lalu, now he's holding Modi's hand.
Yes. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not an ideal situation. In ideal situation, as I said, if you tell me the party that represents and is true to the ideology what Mahatma Gandhi would have outlined for this country, I'm happy to remain with that party all my life.
Let's move away from
let's not give the flexibility and benefit of doubt to the parties. Then you hold others accountable.
I accept the point you're making.
And that is why, but a final point on this, sorry, it's getting a little long. See, that is why voters are also not loyal to you, the party, because you think that you can keep changing your partners and your ideology depending on your conviction, and voters cannot change. Voters have also changed. And that's why ideology does not necessarily give you the vote as much as you would have liked, because you have not been true to your own ideology.
But this brings me back to a question I put to you earlier, which you didn't agree with. Your approach to who you choose to work with is a bit like that of a lawyer. You're free to take up whatever case you want and free not to.
In my head, so long you agree to if I'm convinced, so I apply two things. First, whether as a voter I would like to, in a given election, whether I would like to vote for this party. If I'm a voter, whether I would vote for this party or not. That's a very fundamental thing I apply.
Okay. You won't work for a party you wouldn't vote for.
Yes,
okay.
That's first. And the second thing is whether I would have enough freedom to work with this guy to set his or her agenda for next 5 years. This is the only two things that drives ultimately.
But the first is very interesting. You must have felt you could vote for Shiv Sena in Maharashtra because you work for them.
Yes.
And you must feel you can vote for Mahatma next year because
Yes.
you're working with her.
Absolutely.
And yet the two people
could be very different.
Very, very different things.
Because they are in different worlds. So if next year.
But doesn't that suggest you're torn apart?
I'm coming to it. So if next year in Bengal there is an election and you are to vote, as a voter, who would you vote? There are 4 options: Congress, Left, BJP and Mahatma. As a voter, who would I vote? If I think that I will vote for TMC, I'm happy working with TMC.
What made you vote or believe you could vote for Shiv Sena? On so many issues
I'm not
like
with
CAA
Shiv Sena
and NRC.
No, on Shiv Sena, Shiv Sena is not, Shiv Sena has been a very limited couple of advisors here or there. We have not worked as much as you would like the world to believe. So there has been no.
One more question before I take a break. I've gone a lot on about how you've made, and you don't like that phrase, chief ministers and prime ministers. The one failing was UP in 2017.
Yes.
What went wrong?
What went wrong? Yeah. In simple word, we could not execute what we planned. So, and the blame lies with me, not with anybody else, for going with a plan which probably was not implementable, or for failing to execute, because when I work with someone, I do not only plan or advise, I actually work with them to execute it as well. So that was at the fundamental level, we could not execute what we planned.
Because they wouldn't let you?
That's not material whether they let me do that or not, because end of the day, if they did not allow me to implement, I should have quit. But yes, it was a failing which should be attributed to me, not to Congress or anybody else. I'm more to be blamed than them.
Let me ask you one more question. You worked very successfully with Amrinder Singh in Punjab. He came, I believe, just 1 seat short of a 2/3 majority.
Yes. It's one of the
In
biggest
UP,
victory Congress ever had.
people believe you were working with Rahul Gandhi. Was Rahul Gandhi the problem?
No, but Rahul Gandhi was not the face of UP. See, if I can sum it up, in an election you need what I call 4 M's. The messenger, which is the leader, the message, the leader saying the right thing what people want, and that's what I said, that you need to be informed and be data driven and talking to as many people as possible so that you tell them the right thing what they want to hear. Then there are 2 things, which is machinery, which is the party, and the mechanics. Mechanics is largely the campaign what as people understand. Out of these 4, if you do not get 3, if not 4, if you don't get 3 right, you are less likely to be successful.
How many were wrong in UP?
In UP we were wrong on all 4.
On all 4?
Maybe 3. We had the right message, but we did not have the right messenger. We did not have
the face messenger. In UP, I take it, was Akhilesh.
No, when I started with Congress, Akhilesh was not in picture. It was about the Congress campaign. This was an afterthought, maybe plan.
For the early stages of the Congress campaign, the face was Sheila Dikshit.
Yeah, even before that, there was somebody else. So it was all in mess, because the campaign in UP at our level, it started in March 2016, and Akhilesh and Mahagathbandhan happened 1 year down the line. Sheila Dikshit came 6 months later, then in June.
So the problem was messy thinking in Congress.
I wouldn't say messy thinking in Congress. I'm saying from March till January, when the elections were in February, we kept on changing plans, because whatever plans were put together we could not implement, and then every 2nd month or every 3rd month we were revisiting the plan, trying to come out with a new one. And my fault was that I did not stick or I did not say, if you are changing anymore, I'm not continuing.
Yeah, I get the feeling that in fact long before the election happened, you realized this was going the wrong way, and you felt.
No, I can tell you on record, I have said it before also, in month of October 2016, probably I wrote twice or thrice, I even sent the resignation letter that I don't want. Resignation meaning that I don't want to continue with UP program.
And Congress insisted you do?
I wouldn't say they insisted, but okay, mutually once you are in the war, then there is very, sometime you get overconfident that okay, let me try one more time, let's see. So it was a combination of things.
So this is a series of mistakes that you badly regret today?
I don't regret. I told you I don't regret anything in my life.
You've learned from them?
I learned from it.
But you're determined never to repeat them?
Hopefully I would not. I wish I would not, and hopefully I'm not going to repeat.
So Congress and that experience was a learning experience.
A great learning experience.
It taught you what never to do.
It told me that you could have the best of the plans, but you could still fail if you're not able to execute it the way you want. And people could change after agreeing to the plan. That was the real unique experience I had in UP, because before that, whoever I have worked, once I can understand having a difference of opinion when you are drawing up the plan, but once people at the highest level, they agree to the plan, they never change.
And Congress kept changing?
The situation in UP was such that we kept changing, and that is what led to the.
You've been extremely upfront and honest in talking about yourself, how you choose parties to work with, why you choose parties. At great length you've explained to me what ideology means to you, and also that at the end of the day there are many that you refuse to work with far more than you've agreed to work with. I'm going to take a quick break and come back and ask you in a very short last part, how do you see your future? You're 43, you have at least 20 if not 30 working years ahead of you. What does the road look like over the next 3 decades? That's in a moment's time. But first, a message from our sponsor Glenlivet whilst I take a sip from this glass.
Take a little trip with me, I'm gonna take you home.
Take a little history
Take a little
down this lane of memory.
down this lane.
So let's raise another glass for the glorious past and the friends we have become. Yeah, yeah, 'cause little did we know the good times come and go, but the best is yet to come.
Welcome back to a special interview for The Wire. My guest is one of India's most highly regarded electoral strategists, although I should add, he doesn't like that term, electoral strategy. Prashant Kishore. Mr. Kishore, in February, you launched a platform called Baat Bihar Ki, and it was an attempt to bring together people who wanted to make Bihar one of the top 10 states. And in just 8 weeks, 10 lakh people have joined you. Would you accept that this is an indication of your popularity?
No, it's an indication that again we got the message right. It's time governments and leaders are assessed not in terms of what they deliver in gross numbers, but on relative terms. And if I can just take a minute, what this Baat Bihar Ki is all about. In last 15 years, a lot of people, I would say literally everyone, accept the fact that Bihar has done much better than what it was doing before under Nitish Kumar's leadership. But if you really closely look at the data, and you will find that relative to other states, Bihar ranking on almost all indicators
Is slipping.
not only slipping, it is same as it was. So what I mean by this is that on per capita GDP, per capita income, per capita expenditure, electricity consumption, vehicle ownership, per capita road, household, the concrete households, all weather roads, IMR, MMR, school learning outcomes. You take any indicator, and we have put together 20 such indicators, examine it over last 60 years to find that what has been the Bihar's journey vis-a-vis other states. Unfortunately, what we saw that despite much what has happened during Nitish Kumar's government between 2004 and 2015, and some data points are up to 2019, Bihar's relative ranking is same as it was in 2004. So when I was with Nitish Kumar, this was the thought which I was discussing with him, that it's time we stop comparing ourselves with what we have done in last 15 years vis-a-vis the 15 years of Mr. Lalu Yadav's government. It is time we say that in next 10 or 15 years, how we are going to take Bihar and take it to in the top 10 states. You can't make it number 1 because other states are not sleeping and they would be also growing. And this was the agenda when I was with him also, and he was largely very supportive to this whole thought. When I separated for reasons which are already in public domain, I thought that let me start with this, let me educate people, let me engage with people of Bihar, that it's time that we look at the relative outperformance, because only a relative outperformance by the government of Bihar can take Bihar out of the misery where it is. Otherwise, we might continue to grow very well, 8, 9, 10%, we might build more roads, we might build more schools, but relative to other states in India,
we remain where we are.
We will remain where we are. I just give you one point and we finish. Just take for example per capita income. If government of Bihar is to promise that in next 10 years we will be number 10, today we are number 23. If Bihar has to become number 10 on per capita income basis, the income has to grow 10 times, 8 times to be precise. So 8 times. So you have to put plan according to that, and that is what
Clearly
is attracting the youth.
So clearly, Baat Bihar Ki has struck a chord, which is why 10 lakh
it
people.
has struck a chord because we are raising the right issue. It has got nothing to do with my
Absolutely,
popularity.
but for whatever reason, it struck a chord, which is why 10 lakh people have joined in just 8 weeks. Would you consider converting this into a political party in time to fight the next elections, which, if they happen on time, will be in 6 months' time?
No. I made it public that this whole initiative has got nothing to do with starting a political party or trying to win or lose, or trying to help someone win or lose elections which are due in November.
Baat Bihar Ki is not going to become political. It's
Absolutely not.
apolitical, and it's basically centered around pushing Bihar's development to a point where Bihar becomes one of the top 10 states.
No, it's in the short run it is aimed to educate people, bring a lot of young people on board with this idea that we need to relatively outperform other states. And in electoral terms, we are looking at about 8,800 panchayats which are there in Bihar, and elections are due post assembly election, to make those who believe and buy into this idea to fight elections, because those elections happen not on the party symbol. So I want as many young people who I think are good.
So Baat Bihar Ki can sponsor people for non-political panchayat type elections,
We are already doing it.
but not state level or national level elections.
No, not in Bihar right now.
Is this a no forever, or is this just a no for not now?
No, in the short run, that's the idea, that let's
But what happens in the medium run?
that we don't know what happens in
So
medium
there is a
run.
possibility in the future.
No, temperamentally, I am opposed to idea of creating a lot of a party just for the sake of it, unless you have a real good value proposition to offer.
Let me bluntly ask you, you're a political animal. The excitement of politics runs in your veins. You've helped a lot of people become chief ministers and in one case prime minister. Would you want to be a politician yourself?
But I am a politician. I joined.
Do you want to be an elected politician?
I'm not in hurry, and I do not look things in binaries, or I do not look things from the in 2 years, 3 years, 5 year time frame. I have a tendency to look things. I think if you want to do something meaningful, you have to have a time horizon of 10, 15 years.
Absolutely. You're only 43. You have a time horizon of 30 years.
Yeah,
but
so
you began your answer.
I don't have the wisdom to or crystal ball to see 30 years down the line and 20 years down the line. I'm saying that if I have started something, I want to be in politics, I will not tomorrow launch a party unless I have a right value proposition to offer, which is distinct and which is accepted by the vast majority of people who I want to
I'm going to
represent.
go back to the beginning of your answer. When I asked you, do you want to be a politician yourself? Your words were not in a hurry. When I asked you about elected politics, you said not in a hurry. In other words, you're not against it, but it's not.
I'm not against it. Why should I be?
It's not something that is a goal or target for you just now.
But see, people, the moment someone say that you are coming in politics, people straight away say, okay, he will launch a party, he will fight an election, which alliance he will build. Those things are not how I see things change.
At the moment.
No, not on at the fundamental level. That cannot change what I am asking or what I am seeking to happen in Bihar. If you want to change Bihar on those terms which I am articulating, which is the relative outperformance vis-a-vis other state, that cannot happen unless you bring the fundamental change in the way the whole political ecosystem is organized and brought together.
Elected politics is not your priority at the moment.
Yes, not a priority.
But it is possible 5-10 years down the road.
Yes, of course.
So you're not closing the door.
Not at all.
To becoming an MP or a minister or a chief minister.
No, those things. See, I have said that in Bihar, I will continue to work at the grassroots. Next 5 or 10 years, I am not going to upper house, Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. No disrespect for those. I just think that I need to spend that many years working on the ground to understand.
Does that include no MLA either?
No, I have not said MLA, but I have assured this to people, because I have been asked this question in Bihar, especially from the young people who I work with, that are you going to go to parliament? And I have said that no, I have got no interest in going to parliament.
You said it doesn't include being MLA.
Yes, but if I am to fight election in Bihar at some point in time, yes,
You could.
I could, yes.
And
but if I have to have a value proposition.
Absolutely.
Right now I don't have a value proposition. See, winning an election is one thing, but after winning you should be able to do something that makes a difference. Otherwise, yes, winning an election, we help so many people, as you rightly said, to win election. So I'm sure I can organize my own election to become an MLA or MP, but that would not necessarily bring the change which I think we should be aiming to.
You're saying 2-3 very important things. I'm just summing up. Getting elected as a politician yourself is not your priority at the moment.
Yes.
You're pretty clear that you don't want to be an MP or in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha member for at least the next 10 years. But the possibility of an MLA is open. It's not immediate, but it is open.
Because grassroots fascinates me. And I think we must give ourselves 5-10 years time to understand grassroots before trying to jump.
And an MLA is a direct product of a grassroots understanding.
MLA, the Mukhya, the Panchayat level, that is far more exciting. I know people will think that I'm just saying it for the heck of it, but that is where the real learning is. Because there's no school where I can go and teach myself or educate myself with what happens at the grassroots, other than the fact that I work at that level of
the grassroots has to teach you what happens at the grassroots.
Yes, grassroots has to teach. You have to make yourself part of the grassroots if you want to actually learn something meaningful.
Prashant Kishore, for a fascinating interview, both about yourself and your understanding of electoral strategy, even though you hate that word, and politics, I'm deeply grateful.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.